Your home didn't get water in it, it doesn't matter. You have been affected by these floods in some way.
And there are health concerns with waters from Harvey. We all have questions, and Dr. Joshua Feinstein is here from Memorial Hermann Hospitals here to sort it all out for us. What is the biggest concern in your mind right now after Harvey?
I think the biggest concern is just going to be the usual type thing. When you're working, when you're doing something in Texas, it's hot. You're going to get dehydrated. You're going to have folks who don't drink enough water, and that's going to cause problems. You're going to have folks who are working. These are closed environments or environments that were flooded, and they have all kinds of mud and muck on the floor. Slips, falls. If you're not used to using a hammer, you're going to hurt yourself. Also, there's a lot of houses out there that haven't been touched yet. They're untouchable. They're untouchable for a long period of time. People are going to go back in there. They're going to be full of mold. They're going to be breaking through walls, and there's all kinds of dust there. You got to wear eye protection. You got to wear some sort of mask to go through there. You got to wear gloves. You don't want to be touching this stuff in the long term. I mean, short term, you wash at the end of the day. I don't think there's going to be anything that bad necessarily, but if you have open cuts or sores, you got to make sure to stay clean. You got to make sure to stay up on your medications. A lot of people are just kind of worried about their houses and nothing else, and they have to keep up on their medicines. You got to keep up with drinking enough fluids. If you're not drinking enough to the point where you feel an urge to urinate every 4 to 6 hours, you're not drinking enough.
That's
you got to make
clue.
sure
You need to go to the bathroom like you feel like it.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday my teenager went to, help with the church and do some relief effort, and of course they give him a mask, and he's a teenager. He says, "I don't need no stinking mask," and he comes home, and I'm like, "Bah, do you need a mask, doctor?"
It'd be the best bet, because you're seeing folks, if someone has asthma, COPD, or some problem like that, they're certainly going to be triggered not only by the mold, but just by the plain old dust. It's a trigger for their diseases, but also in the long term, you're going to end up with seeing folks who are coughing quite a bit because they're just inhaling this, and they'll get over the cough at some point, but there are definitely folks out there who will catch some different infectious illnesses due to it.
Hand sanitizer, does that do enough, or does it beat the good old-fashioned good scrubbing with soap, hot water and soap?
So hand sanitizer is good when your hands are called socially clean.
Okay.
If you'd be willing to shake hands with someone, hand sanitizer works. In this case, you're just full of muck and mud, and you need a good old hand washing to get all that stuff off.
A fire hose.
Just short of it, and soap and warm water. I mean, that's the hard thing. You got to get warm water, but a lot of these places don't have any. You got to take a good shower at the end of the day.
All right, and you know what? People are reporting they see rodents, they see snakes in the water. Yeah. If you're bitten by an animal, what's the smart thing to do?
The best bet is, if you're able to go to the doctor, whether it be the emergency department or if your primary care doctor is there, if you can snap a picture of the animal, that's great, because some of them are worrisome, some are not so worrisome. But at the very least, you got to do local wound care. I'm not saying that you should fool around if it was a snake. Make sure that you get to an expert who knows what it is. But if it's just a, even if it's bitten by all kinds of bugs and things, you still got to wash it off at the end of the day. Use some antibiotic ointment, use Band-Aids. Same thing for cuts and scrapes. But make sure that that you know what you've been bitten by before you ignore it.
All right, hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah,
everybody's got that in the kitchen.
All the images and the video we're seeing, how is that affecting people's mental health?
So you're getting a lot of folks who are still, at this point, kind of numb. And what you have to do at this point is, obviously take care of your property, but you have to make sure that you have a regard for your own life. Sometimes we tell folks, you got to fake it till you make it. Do what Mom said. You got to eat 3 meals a day. You got to get sleep. You got to take care of yourself a little bit, and you got to do that. And you may not feel like doing that. You may not feel like eating, but if you don't eat and you don't drink and you don't take care of the basic human needs, you won't get there. And you have to do some decompressing with friends and family. There's just no way around it. If you don't, this stuff builds up over a long period of time.
I have a friend who's a doctor who says, we tell people to rest. You know why we tell them that? Because it works. Dr. Feinstein, thank you so much for joining us.